Hello everybody and welcome to this amazing video of Dead by Daylight. Today I wanted to talk about the effects of the toolbox and figure out how much of an effect they actually provide on the game, as well as what would be the most valuable combinations for you to bring into the game. In this video, I'm looking at the repair side of toolboxes only. The sabotage side has its own strategy and meta behind it for its own thing, but today I want to look at the effectiveness of repair, how much it actually benefits you, and what kind of time you can save with what combinations. First, we'll begin by understanding the generator repairs and how they're calculated so we better understand how toolboxes affect that calculation. So we know that generators take 80 seconds to complete by yourself from 0 to 100%. For the game, it will be calculating generator repair in charges. Each second is one charge, meaning generators have 80 charges before they are fully repaired. Our base repair speed is 1 charge per second. Majority forms of bonuses are additive. This means that if we get a 10% bonus to repair speed, it will make our total repair speed 1.1 charges per second. 25% would be 1.25 charges per second, so on and so forth. So this means we can continue to stack repair benefits with no diminishing returns. If we were to stack both the 10 and 25%, it would give us 1.35 charges per second. Now let's cover the various speed bonuses and toolboxes. The Dead by Daylight wiki did a fantastic job making a chart that shows the translations of the named modifiers to their percents. Starting at slightly, we get a 10% bonus to repair speed, with each increment giving an additional 5% up to tremendously, totaling 25%. These numbers also apply to the add-ons of the toolboxes. As an example, if you bring a standard toolbox, it provides a moderately increased bonus, which is 15%. Adding a clean rag add-on will further increase our bonus by a slightly modifier, translating to 10%. This means we have a total of 25% bonus repair speed, which is added to our 1 second, giving us a 1.25 charges per second repaired on a generator. So just to knock out with the fastest combination we can make, it'll be the Engineer's Toolbox with a clean rag add-on and a socket swivel add-on. Engineer's Toolbox grants the fastest bonus of tremendously, which will give us 25%. Then the clean rag and socket swivel add-ons are the 2 speed add-ons we can get, which give us a total of 25% combined together. Then you take the add-ons and the base repair speed of the toolbox, which gives us 50% repair speed bonus. With a 1.5 charges repaired per second, we will repair a generator in 53.33 seconds by ourselves. And there you have it, the most efficient toolbox, or is it? That's not really all there is to say about toolboxes, as it's not the only stat we have to consider for those toolboxes. Our toolboxes have a limited use through charges. Similar to a generator, these charges represented on the toolboxes show how long the bonus lasts. Each charge is 1 second per repair. If a toolbox has 80 charges, it will provide a repair bonus for 80 seconds of repair before the toolbox breaks. The base toolbox comes with 130 charges, meaning we'll be able to repair an entire generator of 80 seconds with bonus speed, and then just a little over half of a second generator with whatever charges remain. Majority of other toolboxes, however, only have 80 charges, meaning they will break after repairing the generator. This will cost us our entire toolbox and any add-ons with it if we do end up breaking it on that one. That's also to note that any additional charges added to a toolbox will also be consumed if you exceed those extra charges. It will remove the add-on from your toolbox even if you don't use the toolbox completely. Do be aware. But that's not all that affects our toolboxes. We also have to worry about skill checks. When making good skill checks, the progression of a generator continues as normal. However, a great skill check will boost the progress of the generator by 2%, which is 1.6 seconds taken off the generator's total time. Great skill checks are a bonus applied outside of our base repair speed, meaning we save 1.6 charges of our toolbox per great skill check we make. This makes it possible to keep our 80 charge toolbox after repairing a generator if we land at least 1 great skill check during repair. But that also goes for the other side of the spectrum of skill checks. Failed skill checks or ruined skill checks will pose a problem for our toolboxes. Failing a skill check will drop the progression by 10% or 8 seconds. This means it will cost our toolbox 8 charges to make up that mistake. Ruin works at 5% or 4 seconds for every skill check, making it less penalizing, but still a threat to our 80 charge toolboxes. So how do charges affect how effective our toolboxes are? And that would depend actually if we're going for raw speed or an overall time save. For players like myself, I tend to do more than one generator. Completing one quickly is not enough. I may have to complete 2 to 3, maybe even 4 generators, depending on, well, how lazy my team is or how the game is going. It's not unheard of that I have to be the gen jockey for the team, so having a toolbox that provides me a repair speed bonus for the entire time versus just one generator might really help out. If the bonus of one toolbox outlasts the other, then a slower speed might actually save me more time in the long run as long as I maintain that benefit for longer. Looking at all the toolboxes at their base stats as an example, we can see that the base toolbox will save me a total of 19.5 seconds over 130 charges. The engineer toolbox is 10% better in speed and still provides a slightly better benefit. It does save half a second more over its 80 charges, and it pushes that 20 seconds in 80 charges. But if I just had a few more charges on my regular toolbox, then it would push the time saved above the value of an engineer toolbox. Now, if we look over at the Commodious toolbox, we'll see that it has a massive 180 charges, and it makes that 15% speed more valuable if you're repairing for 180 charges, granting us a total of 7 seconds over the Engineer's toolbox. So with the Commodious toolbox at base, you save more time if you were to use that entire toolbox, but you save it over a longer period of time. So if you are doing multiple generators, you will actually save yourself more time with the Commodious toolbox and pushing the bonus for longer than it would be to rush the generator with an engineer's toolbox. This becomes the difference of raw speed versus effective time saves. When it comes to raw speed, yes, the engineer's toolbox can pump out the charges faster, get the generators done far more quickly. However, if you were to have a longer game, the Commodious toolbox could technically get more generators done faster than the engineer's toolbox, likely because the engineer's toolbox would have already broken, and you would still have a Commodious toolbox granting you constant time saves over a longer period of time. So if you are doing multiple generators, you are saving more time. Now that's without placing add-ons with our toolboxes. And if we start to put add-ons on toolboxes, we have two primary types to focus on. We can either add additional charges to the toolbox or boost the speed further. Figuring out when to combine these can make a severe difference of 260% effectiveness. So I put some numbers in an Excel spreadsheet, ran the math, and figured out what's the effective gain of seconds per combination. For this collection of data, I only focused on 3 toolboxes: the standard yellow, the engineers, and the Commodious toolbox. These toolboxes I felt were a good foundation and give you the ability to apply the knowledge to all toolboxes with just these 3. The standard toolbox is going to be for itself. The engineer's toolbox is going to stand for every other toolbox of 80 charges. It's just the fastest one. Then you have the Commodious toolbox, which again is kind of its own thing with how many charges it has. As a side note, Alex's toolbox is a slower version of the base toolbox with 130 charges, but you really shouldn't be using this one to repair, as it is a sabotage toolbox, and it's just going to be a waste of your very precious sabotage toolbox. So save those for sabotage, don't try to bring those in for repair. They repair at the slowest rate of all toolboxes. The following list and findings essentially tell you how much time you save over the lifespan of the toolbox. The engineer's toolbox saves just a half second more than the base toolbox, but it does apply the bonus faster. You will finish that generator significantly faster, but in a shorter time you'll also lose that toolbox. The other toolbox provides you a longer benefit and saves you 19.5 seconds once you use the entire toolbox. And just like the Commodious, it lasts for so long, you still save more time in the long run than you would with the Engineers. If you're not in a true rush and you're going to end up working on 3 generators, the Commodious toolbox is the toolbox that will save you the most time in the long run because its bonus lasts for so much longer. The list is ordered from top being the lowest effective time save to the bottom combination, which would be the best effective time save. You'll notice that certain combinations for each toolbox is slightly different as certain add-ons affect certain toolboxes differently. From all combinations, it seems that the base charge count on the toolbox is possibly the biggest factor of what makes certain add-ons more effective. Adding charges themselves with scraps or wire spool add-ons can boost your overall effectiveness as they grant you a flat amount of charges of their own. However, the instructions add-on is an interesting one as it reduces the consumption of your charges by 20%. What this means is that you effectively gain a bonus 20% of charges to your toolbox, and this stacks with the add-ons charges as well. Placing wire spool's 30 charge bonus with instructions will boost the wire spool's charges by 20% as well as the base charges for the toolbox itself. Instructions being a percentage increase means that the more charges you have at base, the better this affects you. You'll see this reflected on the Commodious toolbox as the instructions tend to be listed on the better combinations than either the base or Engineer's toolbox. Essentially, what this means for toolbox with 80 charges will likely want to push more flat charges with the wire spool. For toolboxes with 130 charges, we can focus on just speed add-ons to gain the best effective time save. Yet, if we're able to apply additional charges, I suggest keeping the instructions add-on for the Commodious toolbox alone, and give the flat rate of wire spool and scraps to the lesser toolboxes. Instructions work so well with the Commodious toolbox that you gain the best benefit from it, so save your instructions for the Commodious. When do you know to go for raw speed versus this effective repair? Simple. If you're the type of player who has to work on 2 to 3 gens, as we discussed, focus on a more effective time save over several generators. However, if you're just someone who needs to rush 1 generator, put on that Engineer's toolbox, throw on your speed add-ons, and just get it done as fast as possible in as short of a time as possible. Though you may not save more time over several generators, you can still push a single generator out faster. Remember that if you don't end up using most, if not all, of the toolbox, then the faster toolboxes will be worth your while. You want to use as much of your toolbox as possible to get the effective time saves. This should help you pump those gens out quickly and get an advantage on killers that seem to pressure you and your team quickly. I want to take a brief moment to thank my patrons for supporting me with the recent guides. It's been nice to be able to sit down and do the work knowing I have their support. It really helps keep the guides coming. Currently, patrons have the downloadable image of the toolbox list that you saw available on Patreon and are giving suggestions to the next guide. If you want to get in on this, join me on Patreon for as low as $1 to get the content you want, link in the description. Has this guide been helpful to you? Let me know. If you want to put suggestions in the comments, I'll always read them. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game.